powered by the Zapata brand studio, straight out of Jersey with Jersey Jay-Z and the freak of New York, Greg Valentino. This week's guest, he's an inspiring writer and blogger of Week to Week Notes. Straight out of Jersey, we welcome Tom Davis.
Welcome, everybody. Straight out of Jersey. Greg Valentino is not joining us today, but I'm excited because I got someone who I don't know him very well, but I know his family like the back of my hand. And he's a writer, a blogger, Tom Davis. Tom, welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you, Joey.
All right, Tom. So I know your family really well. I know your parents when they were actually dating. And I know your mother one time, a good quick story, is when she was riding her bicycle, and she must have been like 15, and down Berkeley, and she crashed through a fence. And as a kid, it was the funniest thing ever, and she had black and bruise all over her place. But let's talk about you, and we'll start right from the beginning. So where were you born, and where'd you go to school?
So I was born in Pascack Valley High School, or hospital. I grew up in my grandparents' backyard in Westwood. We were like all over the tri-state. They probably moved like 6 or 7 times. They ended up getting a house across the street from my grandparents. So from like kindergarten to 2nd grade, we were at Dean's house. You probably
exactly.
So I spent kindergarten to 2nd grade there, and then I moved to Pearl River, New York. So I'm not really from Jersey necessarily. I better say I'm from Pearl River, New York, but that's my hometown is Pearl River, but I
gotcha
all over the area. Yeah.
Now your parents have a very interesting background because, I mean, your father, I believe, is from Galway in Ireland.
Yeah, he's from Galway.
Galway.
They met in 1988 and on St. Patrick's Day, so pretty cool.
Wow. Going to school, who was Tom Davis?
So I started out, I was a pretty shy, like freshman or 8th grade we started. I was pretty shy 8th grade, 10th grade, and then I played basketball. I was like the captain of my senior year. I was the captain. I played a good bit, so I was a basketball player. I hung out with like all my friends were massive sports fans. So I had some great friends and a lot of like sports arguments. Like none of us have the same. We're not the same fans of the same team. So
same teams.
Arguments would get kind of nasty and stuff. So
exactly.
It was awesome.
Now you're a Yankee fan, I believe, correct?
Yeah, huge Yankee fan.
Okay, good. That's good. I like you a lot right now. So were you writing in school at all? Did you like writing at all?
No, I don't have really any journalist background at all. I always was like pretty good at English. Like I get A's and stuff, but I never really thought anything of it. Like my mom she was great at like reading essays and stuff, and so I guess I kind of like learned that way. But it just always kind of came natural to me. I would read some of my friends' stuff and be like, "Oh wow, like maybe I am pretty good at this," but I never thought anything of it. I also was really into history, so I was like a history nerd. I'd get like A's in all those classes. I wouldn't even really have to try like too hard. But I never really put the things together. I always wanted to like work in New York City and wear a suit and work at maybe not Wall Street, but something like that. I never envisioned that I would be doing this. So
wow. So I guess going through school and everything, when does the rubber hit the road, as they say, that you were like, you know what, I want to start writing something? Week to week notes.
My junior year in college, I was at the library, and I was the fantasy football commissioner of my like high school league.
Okay.
So as a way to like connect with them, I would just like roast all their teams. Like, Darty, you were wasted last week and you forgot to start your guy, or just like stuff like that. Probably meaner and stuff that I wouldn't want to. But that's kind of how it all started. The name Week to Week Notes.
Oh, wow.
And then I kind of just played around with it. It started off just roasting people, and then I would try to like bring in more sports and stats and stuff. And how it started.
Okay, so now you start writing Week to Week Notes. So what is the format? I see you now have a format and how you work it out. So like, what is the format you go by?
So I use on Substack, and I kind of I've been doing it now. I started April. All of this started as a mock draft.
Oh wow.
22 when the Jets drafted Sauce Gardner. I just was playing around. I don't really have great like tech skills. Like I started to like design a website, but just much and to maintain it's a lot. But Substack is like it's almost like it's almost like a spam for your emails. Like if you're a business, I would definitely recommend if you have like stuff that you want to get out to your customers, I would recommend using it. But I kind of just played around with how they designed it because it's very user friendly. And I use a lot of stuff I use my phone from, like I'll screenshot stuff and then send it to my laptop. It's very user friendly there. And the design and everything, that kind of just happened over time, playing around hundreds of times, like every day. And yeah, one thing like
so the first section, I guess you talk about sports. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so I'll either lead with like a sports. I always start with a at hey or hello at you the reader or all right at you the reader. So it's like I'm trying to say hello, like because I try to write for everybody that this stuff. So it's generic. It's probably a little corny, but at the same time, it's my thing, so I gotta stick with it. I'll start off with like either a thing about music or a thing about sports. The music element that also just kind of came out of note, like one thing led to another, and I do like a different song every day.
Yeah,
just like it gets me. It's a little bit more creative element to this.
How do you pick the song for the week? Is it about your mood for the week? Is something that happens that catches you? How do you pick the song?
So I'll get into it with the Guinness later, but yeah, if I'm at a bar, I write down what the song is on the background, and then so for like Tuesday, every day I kind of write on a different subject, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it's whatever was on at the bar. I kind of just pick there. Thursdays, like tomorrow's blog, I always just pick like Levels by Avicii, or I had the song like Named by Google Dolls. It's basically just like a mailbag type of day thing. And I don't really want to think too much about the music because it's a lot, and I get too like it would be too much to maintain. The weekends I kind of try to play around. Like last week I did the Real Slim Shady because the Lions were in the playoff. So I kind of try to like play around with what's going on the weekend, and yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you live currently in Hoboken?
Yep, I'm in Hoboken.
Oh,
yep.
Okay. There's a lot of bars there. I know that. I'm Washington, right?
Plenty. Yeah, I live right by 10th and Willow, so.
Excuse me. So I guess because you have the thing with Guinness, so obviously I guess Guinness is a big thing in drinking Ireland. It's one of the best thing, of course, you know that.
Yep.
So do you like obviously Guinness, correct?
Love Guinness. Yep.
You get that from your father?
He's actually not a Guinness drinker. No.
Oh, really?
No, he actually.
That's surprising.
But my grandfather, who on my dad's side, I never got to meet him. His name was Thomas Davis, and he apparently loved Guinness. So I guess that's kind of where I get it. I wasn't a big drink. Like in college, I never really wouldn't go to a bar and get Guinness every time. But after, it's my favorite drink to drink now by far. It's the only thing I really drink besides like water and coffee and tea. But it's my go-to.
Have you ever had a car bomb?
Irish car? Yep.
I've had that a couple times. That's why. It's Jameson in the Guinness. I've had that a few times before.
It's delicious. It is good.
It is good. So, how does the Guinness play a role? Like you do this pints and pen?
Yeah.
How you work it?
Pint, pen, and paper. So I'll go to a bar. I'll ask them if they have Guinness. I have like these note cards, and I just sit down. I take out my pen and paper, and I start off everything with like a service and staff rating. Which, if you're like, I worked at a bar, so I'm not an asshole. Like the last thing I want to do is come across like somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody gets an A+. As long as you like show me any. That's not what I do.
Okay.
I do a Guinness rating, and then I do like the challenge. Like I don't know if you ever tried to cut the G on a Guinness, but on the first sip, I try to cut the G on the first sip. So
what does that mean, cut the G? Because I don't really drink.
So like on the letter,
okay,
I try to on one gulp like finish it so that when down on the table it's like perfectly aligned.
Oh wow.
And I fail a lot, but I've hit it a bunch of times.
So how many bars do you visit? Do you visit one a week?
If my grandma's listening to this, I'm about to
I'll
get.
edit this out, Tom,
So I,
afterwards. Okay.
no, no. So I started this last January 1st was the first time I ever did this. So it'll be 13 months in a week. I've hit 600 bars. It'll be
600 bars.
I'll be on. Yeah, I'm closing in on 600. I've honestly slowed down a lot for the last I don't know 6 or 7 months because it's not a sustainable course. But in the beginning I was drinking every bar in Hoboken, every bar in Jersey City, like one or two a day. Sometimes on the weekends I'd have a couple more, but now I stick to 2 or 3 on a Tuesday or Wednesday when I'm in the city for work, and on the weekends I'll maybe have 3 or 4, mostly just 3. Yeah, because I don't want to yeah,
you're not a raging alcoholic. You're just tasting the beer.
And I don't want it to come across I'm getting hammered every night. So
no.
I wouldn't be able to do this. Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't be able to. I was gonna say you wouldn't be able to. Your parents, so how did they feel? Are they supportive on how you're doing this? What do they think about this?
So my mom at first was Tom, she calls me Thomas. My parents, my whole the good side of and I guess my dad's side, they all refer to me as Thomas still. She was a little weirded out by it, but any mom would, but I was doing it for a month, and then she actually chaperoned. She took I went to Finnegan's with my parents, my grandparents, Uncle Robbie, Uncle Tom, my Uncle Robbie.
Yeah, PJ Finnegan's. That's very famous in Western New Jersey. Yes.
I did a review there, and then the next day, my mom actually drove me to Iron Horse, other places around Bergen County, and she actually sat down. And it's not just about the Guinness. Honestly, it's more about talking to people, and the conversations I stumble into are it's the best part. It's probably the Guinness part is probably the coolest thing I'll ever do. It's very cool.
Well, that's really great. And your father, he also supports it, I would assume.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anytime I'm home, they're like, "Here's $50 for spend it on Guinness." But no, but it's yeah, I get a lot of support. A lot of time it's beer, so it's drinking, so it's not the healthiest thing in the world, of course. But I'm walking everywhere I go, and I don't come home and slug. I don't drink outside of this.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now I also see you put a little. I've seen a couple of them. I've read them a few. Tommy has sent me a few, and a couple of them you put some family things in there too.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Yeah, and how do you come up with that?
Well, the way I kind of look at it is my grandma sends me a text message every morning. She's how she's basically my only critic most of the days.
Okay.
So I know she's reading, so I'll throw in a joke here or there. I just try to. That just kind of naturally happened over time. So it's if I know someone's reading or in touch with it, I'll throw them a shout out. But I don't. It kind of just comes naturally, and the stories I come up with, I don't try to force anything. It's just it was important to me, or it's a memory that something clicked. Either when I was writing about the sports or the song, music, or just in general. It's the process of writing. It's just connecting dots and then flow. And then, sometimes I don't even know where. I'll go back and read stuff and I'm like, wow, I can't even, that was pretty cool. Or I feel like a completely different person than that a year ago, or it's cool. Cause there's a thing with writing where you get so, into it that you have to be in a zone, and then
have you ever had some major writing blocks where you're oh man, I don't know what to think of?
I mean, not really, because I do have the music, I always have some sort of topic, and I kind of separate the days. On Mondays I do a mock draft, so it's that's what it's centered around, is NFL mock draft. So I'm looking up college players, looking up their profiles. I'll go on all their college websites, say like Bo Nix from Oregon. I'll go on Oregon's like school website, look up stuff there. I'll go on Twitter, look at like search his name. Like I'm just all over trying to find as much information as possible about him, and then I write like a paragraph. So it's not like it's just accumulating knowledge that way, and then whatever I find cool, like I'll look up a clip that he had, like a dunk or a touchdown pass, and so it's not like on Mondays it's like not too nothing crazy. It's mock draft. So I'm not writing like anything crazy. Tuesdays and Wednesdays it's mostly the Guinness. So it's really just I go word for word on this, and then I'll go on each of these bars websites or Instagrams, and like I'll screenshot or I'll whatever they're like trying to promote, just to like help them in some way. I got not help. They don't need my help, but it's just free advertising for them is where I put it. And then Thursdays, it's like I call it his or her words, not mine. So it's like centered around like what people either are commenting, or I do this really cool thing with my cousin Drew and Uncle Robbie. They're like huge Yankee fans, huge Jets fans. So we have like a group chat, and it's basically just whatever they send me, and then I like we're not like send me, but it's just like a natural group chat that anybody would have with like their friends.
Yeah.
I just like kind of like you can tell which is me, and then you can tell when it's them. And yeah.
And then what's Friday? Friday's just
Friday is Friday football, and so it's like there it's just I'll do like the spreads and the over-unders, but it's not really centered around like betting like everything else I feel like out there today. It's more like the storyline. So I do a lot of like Taylor Swift. Like I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, love Taylor Swift. So I'll throw that stuff in, but no, I do like stats and whatever, like the storylines or whatever I think whatever I think my friends might be interested in learning or reading, or just stuff about that. And
Saturday's probably college football.
Saturdays was college football. It's centered around football, but it's like a back-to-back because it is a sports blog. So there's a lot of, so I have a lot of other stuff to write about with that. And I'll throw in like Irish rugby. My dad's a massive Irish rugby fan. So that's really cool to like be able to keep up with it that way, because I wasn't necessarily like, I'd watch it if it was on. And of course, but now it's like I'm invested in them.
Really?
I really want them to win. Yeah, because I have like aunts and uncles over there that do my stuff, and so and that part kind of is where it's cool, because like not too many people are doing that, at least. And so I'll do Irish rugby. I do
hockey. You do hockey.
I do hockey and Knicks. I'm not I grew up as a basketball player, so I'm not like fully. I'm not the greatest hockey guy, but I keep up with it. And basketball, I get into it like around right after football. I get into like NBA playoffs, and college basketball I kind of sort of keep up with for like.
Do you do any golf at all or no?
Yeah, golf's actually one of my favorite things to write about too.
Oh wow! Okay.
I just pick like on a given weekend, whoever's like has an interesting story or whatever. I'll feature like 5 or 6 guys. One of my friends is we do like a Rooster Cup. So I have like a friend group from high school, and like they all are like, they love golf. Like they live it, breathe it. So I'm awful at it, but it's fun to like, be a part of that. And so I'll write about like 5 or 6 guys, and like there's the whole like the live tour versus PGA aspect. I'm not like a pro or I'm not an expert at any of this stuff, but I like having takes or trying to like have a little like satire involved in it.
Yeah, I've been reading it and I've been looking, and you do a really good job keeping it very positive. Well, it seems very positive the whole time. It's sports and Guinness and family, instead of like the regular news or someone's getting shot or this or whatever it is. It's very positive.
Yeah, I really try my best to do that, because I look at it as like somebody else might be having like a shitty day or a bad day. Well, I get to do something that's like, I legitimately have so much fun doing this. So the last thing I want to do is like write something like negative, and then their takeaway be like, oh, this guy's an asshole, because that might be the only time they ever click on the link and read. yeah, it's not the easiest thing to always be positive, but at the same time, it's like I genuinely get to do something like very fun. So I feel very lucky that I've done it.
And how long have you been doing this in total, altogether, the week to week notes?
So I started off it was April of 2022. I was just doing a once a week thing, like every Friday I'd post a link, and then I got like I would eventually I just started playing around on social media. Like I would tag these guys, like tag like celeb big names or whatever, and some of them eventually found it, and I like some big names like viewed the stories and stuff. So I was like, holy cow, all right, like somebody is actually I was like, holy, like I'm not even gonna say who, but it was just like, wow, this is a pretty cool moment. And then that was like, kind of just grew from there. And then I just, all right, like that's a sign for me, like, all right, you're going in the right direction. And then I just, after I started doing the Guinness, I was always worried that I'd run out of content to write about and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm only gonna be able to do this once a week. And then I've written since January 1st of last year. I've just like 3 days. So every day I try to come up with like 1,500 to 3,000 words. And it's all practice because I'm not a natural writer. I didn't go to like some journalist school. To work at it. I have to be different.
Wow. So let me ask you, what is the best and worst part of writing for you? What do you think?
The best and worst. Well, the worst part is definitely the start. Like I'm not. It's so like in a way it's so deflating when I'm very happy with a piece. To know, like for like 15 seconds after I post it, I'm like, that was cool. I can reread it once, and I'll either be like, oh, I didn't really like what I did there, or that joke wasn't funny, or people won't get it, or maybe nobody gives a crap, like, so I overthink it for a little bit there, and then I'm on to the next one, and it's like I don't really get time to like chill out, but at the same time I love it, so it's like just trying to maintain it. The worst part, yeah, I don't really have any control in it, so it's like I don't know if people are gonna like hate it or like or that, and so that element of like, I don't want to say like paranoia, but just like it's that part I've had to like work on and deal with, and that just like over time just like really stop caring and like not caring, but yeah, just like I put in all this time. It's like someone's gonna comment something like or tell me something like. It's like you probably read it for like 5 minutes and you already assume you know everything about me. I've been doing all this. Yeah. So,
was there ever a day you felt like you just had nothing to write? You were just like, "Oh, screw this."
Oh, I mean, all the time.
All the time?
Not all the time. No, there is times where it's like when I was doing it in the middle of the summer last year, it was like I'm not really gaining much following, and it was just like I have to just keep my head down and keep going. Like there's highs and lows with anything you do. I'm sure you guys know, like when you guys started, you're like, is anybody listening to this? And,
yeah, exactly. That's when we started. We had 0 subscribers, and then we went to 1,000 before we knew it.
Exactly. So it's like when you get to like work for yourself and you're doing something passionate, it's like I don't know if you don't do that, like it just drives you, and it's like I don't know. It's like.
And what does drive you? What does drive you? The work you're doing and putting it out?
Yeah, well, I like being able to maybe one day like have a real maybe company or a sports media company where it's like not even just me and like what I'm interested in, but if I can create something where like other people that are into whatever it may be, like forget what I do, like sports, even if it's like any topic, like I just want to create something where one day maybe like anybody could just already have like a decent following and be able to do something that they enjoy, like creatively, or I don't even really think I'm like creative, to be honest. I think I just worked it every day. And it just happened over time. Yeah.
Where do you see week to week notes in 5 years?
Well, I mean, I hope we're doing like a little bit probably more than just writing about sports, writing. Like I hope there's a podcast or what, like, as who knows what we're going to be, what platforms or social medias are going to be popular in 5 years. But
Mhm.
I mean, I hope I'm at least. Sorry, Maggie.
No, it's okay.
I hope I'm writing at least. I don't know if I'm going to be able to write every single day at this pace for 5 years. But I'm hoping to just continue to grind at it, and I would love to always write about sports history, and the Guinness is it's so awesome.
Why don't you consider? Because I tell you what, I mean, why don't you consider doing a sports podcast? I mean, I tell you what, I mean, your family has been so good to us growing up, especially sometimes we had some tough times. But why don't you do something of a podcast? I mean, we'd love to have you on our platform where you can build off of that. I mean,
I would love to. My friends have said this to me before too, and I totally I want to one day eventually, but I think the writing part. I don't think there's a lot of people my age that want to write and stuff. So I think as like crazy and as backwards thinking as it is, I think that might be a way that kind of separates me. But I definitely, I'm not like totally
against it.
Yeah, exactly. But I am like old school. Like I go around around writing with the notepads and stuff. But I love what you guys are doing. I love how it's like boxing, it's passion. Like there's a whole in 5 years, I don't know. I kind of honestly take it day by day because it's a lot of work. And I hope, if I keep grinding, I would love to have a sports guy, not even just for myself, but for other people as well. Whatever their topics are.
Do you have the job? You have a job?
Podcast, sorry.
You also have a job?
Yeah, I have a job. Yeah, so it takes up a lot of time. Like that itself, it's like a real job. But the thing with podcasts that I don't want to just dive into right away, like now, is I understand there's a lot of work and effort that goes into that as well. Like it's not like people who are listening to the podcast are probably like, oh, like it was an hour. It only took an hour to do, but it's like you guys are thinking about topics. The whole like setting up the studio, like coordinating, scheduling, like there's a lot of other factors that people don't really get. Even with the writing, like I might write something that's a 15-minute read, but that might have taken me like 3 hours or 4 hours, and I might have been thinking about that concept like months ago, and so it's like there's a lot. I want to stick to the writing aspect just because there's a lot of people my age, like they're on like TikToks or other stuff, and so I think I have like sort of a lane where it's at least a little different.
Yeah, I mean, when you being old school, because a lot of kids like, especially with AI, they could just that. I mean, does that worry you as far as?
For sure. That's why I try to be as like creative as possible with as many different aspects, like the music and sports and and everything. Yeah, that part definitely does. I've had people be like, well, what about ChatGPT? And it's like, yeah, but if we're going by that, then I would like to think that, look, I'll never be as like like a ChatGPT thing would obviously, if you're more interested in like just learning the news and facts and stuff, but I would like to think that people would rather read a human being and like their own perspectives and stuff. But we'll see. I guess that is a fear, but you could also make the case like AI could take over everything.
That's true. That's true.
So
it's people don't know what goes behind the scenes, especially with us and like with you. I mean, you have a full-time job, so do we, and we do this on the side as we did it as a hobby, but now it's starting to become a business. It takes a lot away. I mean, for you, I'm sure visiting a bar, going to each bar after hours could be tough.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work. It's like, especially now, it's like I don't have a car. Like, well, one, I wouldn't drink and drive anyway, but like, shouldn't even laugh at that. But I'm saying I do everything public transit. So if I'm going to Brooklyn, like it's taking me 2 hours to get from that itself is 2 hours. And usually I have like 5 or 6 drinks, so I'm absolutely useless on the way back. So yeah, that takes some time, but yeah, honestly, like in the grand scheme of things, I get to go to bars and talk to
Yeah.
people. So
Does your friends go with you? All your friends go with you when you go?
no, not really much. No, I would like I do sometimes. If my friends are out, I will in Pro River. I'll sometimes pull out the pad or whatever. But I kind of just it's kind of a I don't know if I have no idea what I don't know if they would want to do it, and it's yeah. And then I've had people be like, oh, you should like videotape it, the experience. But it's like, I don't know if that's even legal. And I don't know if the bartender wants, it's not like I'm not like a pizza guy. Like I'm not Portnoy or whatever, where, like it's more like undercover. So,
especially at bars, you don't know. It can get be a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So
a little bit sticky. So where do you work currently? I mean, you don't have to say the company, but you do work 9 to 5. And
I'm in Tribeca. So I'm in twice a week. I'm in the city. So that's where I'll go on like Google Maps and I'll try to find a spot and 2 or 3 places on Tuesday. So because I work remote on the other days.
Yep.
I don't go into the city after work on those, but because like that's another $6 to take the bus and stuff. So when I'm in there, I try to
New York. What was the most freakiest or best bar you've been at that you can say, hey, this was the best experience of my life I had in this place?
I mean, there's so many, but like even yesterday. So yesterday I went to 3 bars. First one was, all right, I went to the Trademark, and it was just like this typical bar. Sat down. There was like these 2 girls that were like 21, 22. They were like drunk. So the bartender the whole experience was just like, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. So then I ended up at a karaoke place. I walked by this place. It's called the Parlor Room, and I was like, I don't think I did a review here yet, but I'll remember that for next Tuesday. So then I went to the Allerton Club, sat down, like said hello to the bartender, asked for a Guinness, and he was like, like we're actually out. So I was like, damn. Go back to the Parlor Room, sit down, like sitting there, it's packed, I'm waiting there, and eventually a guy gets up, I sit down, like I show the box, do the whole routine, and this lady next to me, her name is Colleen. She's like, oh, I really like the box. And then one thing led to another. She's talking to me about how like her family has this whole like 1870 murders like that was like, yeah, there's I'm gonna do a whole write-up on it, but it's like a screenplay like this. After she like sent me a whole like all the research she's done, and I'm like, you should really consider like keep investigating on it, because I don't want to spoil it, but it's like very, very, very interesting. Then I've been to so many places. I went to like the Black Sheep, and there's this guy named Tom, and he was like the Irish Forrest Gump was his nickname, and he's the owner of the bar. Yeah, he's the owner of the bar, and I was just like shooting the shit with him for like 15 minutes. 20 minutes. Like I get to talk to so many people. There was the O'Hara's and Financial District. I sat down. It was like my 4th bar I ever went to. And there was Nick sitting next to me. I don't always just interview the bartender. Sometimes it's like the patrons and stuff. So he was sitting there. This was like my 3rd or 4th time. I had no idea what I was doing. And I just was like, yeah, like I didn't even have the cards. I was like, yeah, trying to like grow this like social like sports blog through social media, and I'm like trying to be like more of a written content thing than like just videos. And he was like, oh, like I totally missed out on Barstool, and he's like, they're not really from my whatever. And I was just like, wow, so he's already like connecting me with like one of the most successful, whether you hate them or love them, whatever, like sports media companies. And so like that was a cool experience. Hearing something like that, I was at Hurley's, and one of my like the amount of bartenders and people that I met along the way is the best part. But like Melissa was like, she was just happened to be behind the bar. She's like an accountant there. She used to bartend, and she just was happened to be behind the bar. She was like covering for somebody, and she's like, oh, like I was trying to describe like what it's like meeting people for the first time and like being on like for a couple for like 20 minutes, not to be like too like dramatic, but like for the first like 15, 20 minutes when you get to meet somebody and you get to like actually have a conversation and get to know them a little bit, like you kind of walk away. You're not like friends, but she was like, you're like an acquaintance. And it was like, so that thing that stuck with me. That was like last January. Yeah, I mean the highest score I gave was Molly's. It's by like Gramercy Park. And that was like the bartender was like, yeah, like during Prohibition where you're sitting was where the speakeasy started. So like, yeah,
wow.
Honestly, the Guinness parts.
Have you met any famous people at these bars?
I shook Roger Federer's hand. That
wow.
was completely random. Yeah, he was like walking into a bar. They didn't have Guinness. John Sterling. They didn't have Guinness. It was the second time. I said, hey, oh my God, you're John Sterling, and he's just like, oh God.
Sometimes he sounds drunk on the air.
Yeah, well, he's a legend. So
yeah, he is a legend. Wow. So those are the people you met. A couple of those people. John Sterling, Roger Federer. Wow. I mean, you really do a great job. So, where can people find you? Have social media, obviously.
Yep.
So, where's your social media at? You could just give it
out. The main one I use is you, like YOU.
And I'll post it here also.
Yep.
In the edit too.
Yeah, you the reader. I don't use week-to-week notes just because I think it's a little bit more distinct, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But you the reader. And you can also find me if you Google week-to-week notes, like it's the first thing that pops up. So always there. And yeah, all the cards I use, like they have a QR code.
They have QR code. They could scan.
I want to like eventually. Yeah, my goal is to like one day, hopefully, like establish a relationship with all these bars, and then be able to like show up with like a card or something that they can put on tables, and there's a long term.
I like to go to a bar with you one time and just hang out and get a drink.
Yeah, of course.
We have to bring Tommy probably.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Your uncle. We'll have to bring your uncle. We'll have to bring Tommy. Yeah. To see. But definitely, if you ever want to do something with a podcast, please reach out to us. We will help you on a platform.
Hey, if you ever need guests and stuff, I'd love to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can come on our platform anytime.
Mumbled a bit, but
you did a great job, and I like reading your stuff. You are the reader and stuff. I saw you on Instagram, and I just actually applied to follow you and everything. But you definitely need to come on the platform more and just to talk and come on because we're.
I need to because I feel like when you're just writing all the time, people you kind of feel like an internet troll in a way, and it's like I don't want to be like a total internet. Like I'm probably the most social internet troll of the past year. So yeah, I know you got to have a face to it, but I do kind of like the like. You don't. It shouldn't really matter what I am or who I am.
No, you're not.
If you read my stuff, that's the goal behind it. Or that's what I think. Writing.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you really come from a great family. They growing up with your family was a pleasure because they always really treated us well. I remember your grandparents taking me to Florida when I was a little kid with Tommy. So I mean, they really treated us like family. So. Having you, if I can do anything with me and my brother to help you, you just name it and we'll be here to help you too, jump on the platform. So Tom, I really appreciate your time that you came with me and I hope we can come on again.
Oh, of course.
Do more down the road.
Whenever.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Tom Davis, Week to Week Notes. We're going to put in his Instagram and everything on here on the edit, but thank you, Tom, for your time.
Thank you
so much.
And thank you, Joey. Much appreciated. I love what you guys are doing. I saw the McKenna Irish.
Yes. Yep.
That was very cool.
That was very good, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom, for everything.
Thanks.
You got it. Take care. Bye.